Real quick, just before I do anything else, to make it a little bit easier to see, I'm going to actually shift the path that the foes are following over and down a little bit, so that they're not like totally on the edge of the map and appearing to be kind of in the abyss. Okay. That good? We'll pretend it's good. Hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games, and welcome back to another tower defense in the making. Is that what I'm calling this now? Series. Alright, so it's the ant's head or butt or whatever that is in the abyss, but it's you can at least see part of it, which is good enough for me. Last time, the ants are following the path. This time, what am I doing this time? I am going to deal with waves of foes. Okay, that's what I've written down. I've actually more or less followed the plan for the first 5 videos in this series. Let's see how long I can keep that up. Okay, so I would like to establish waves. I'm going to get rid of this. Let's see, waves. Alright, this is going to be a struct. I've written down that this should probably be a struct. Let me make a script. I am also going to organize this into like gameplay stuff, which can be game, waves, entity things. I'll put the camera in there also, even though it's kind of a weird middle ground. And I will have a another group for like help. Oh, database also. Faux definitions and stuff, that counts as gameplay. So that'll be like math, vectors, the backbone object. Waves. Okay, so I'm going to give this a faux type, which spawns on each wave. So that'll be type. Should I call it class for consistency's sake? And the number. And I'm thinking a level also, because like stronger foes later on. But I will get to that later. Number and level. And I think that's all I need. Okay, that's all I need for now. If I decide later that I want multiple types of foes in a wave, this can be an array of some sort, but for now, I don't know if I'm going to be going in that direction. I will not do that. So let's go back to the game. Let's say all waves. Nope. We're going to create a wave of a list of waves, and we're going to add a wave of foes, which can be faux ant. The number can be, let's say 8. 8 sounds like a good number. Level 1, just because I can. I'll worry about making more later. Once this wave is up and running, we'll start launching new waves when one finishes. I'm also going to start using regions for this. I'm probably not going to be touching graphical stuff much. I will get rid of the checker floor eventually and replace it with something better. That's a little ways down the road. Likewise, later on, I will organize this in a somewhat better way, but that is also a little ways down the road. This is just going to go probably in the next video, because I'm going to then have it work so that you place levels down by place towers down by clicking and something like that. But that's okay for now. And then the waves. I would also like to keep track of current wave, which is going to be an index of the wave that's currently active. Let's say there will be proper controls for this later. Let's say if you hit the space bar, you just launch a wave. Actually, no, I don't need that. I don't need to check if anything is active. We will then grab the instance, like the wave instance. If you want to really be clever, this is valid code. This would do the same thing, but I will choose to not be really clever in exchange for making this easy to read. Okay. It's going to need to have a way to launch. This is not safe if I were to keep spamming the space bar. We would be going up and up and up in waves, even though there's only one defined. Again, though, hopefully by the end of this video, that will not be a thing, so I won't worry about that. Let's give it a method called like start. And let's also give this an update. Actually, hang on. Start sounds too much like Unity's start method, which is basically the constructor for game objects. I would like to avoid that a little bit. Launch sounds a little bit more like we're ready to go, so we're gonna start sending in enemies. And then I'm also going to we're gonna have this update. We're gonna have it send in things on an interval. So when the launch method is called, let me see. We're gonna call that when a wave starts. And then I think if there is a current wave, we're going to have it update. If you can't tell, I really like summoning methods for this purpose. If you couldn't tell. Oops, hang on, wait, help. I could use static variables for a lot of this, since they don't really... Nah, I won't. The faux timer is going to count down until it is time to send in a new faux, and if it goes off, if it goes less than 0, then we will send in a new, what was it, entity faux of the specific class and the specific level. And this is where I kind of feel like having it add itself to the like the game list would be helpful. This is kind of ugly code. Doing it inside the constructor automatically would also be kind of ugly code. I don't know. I'll just do this for now. And then we'll say it's 1 second in between spawns. And then we'll do the delta time trick again, although I won't save it to a variable this time. Although what I should do is probably macro that, since I call it a lot. And then we will count down. Oh, we also need to do that, and I guess you should check that there are any foes remaining before doing any of that, but that's fine. So I'll hit the space bar, and the game is going to immediately crash. Faux time not set before reading it. That's because it should be faux timer with an R. All right, well, we've got to get something. So there are now. Okay, that is I forgot to enable alpha testing. So the transparent part of sprites are obscuring each other, which is exactly what I want, and they are spawning infinitely. because there's nothing telling them to stop. Okay, that is the beginning of a wave of foes. That is what I want. First, let me address the alpha blending thing. If I go to camera, render, it's one of the it's one of those settings, GPU settings that I need to enable. Now you can see they're not like cutting each other out. You can actually see through the sprite. Yeah, I often forget to do that. Transparency in 3D sucks. Let's see. I've realized the towers are still rotating for no real reason. All right, well, I'm convinced that's working. Let's put a bit of a bounds on this. So, if come on, code formatting. Otherwise, we're going to set running to false. That should only spawn 8 things. How many foes did I define? Because only one spawned. Did they all spawn on top of each other again? How come only one spawned? Oh, okay. Wrong sign, wrong comparison. I wanted the opposite of that. Okay. Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and that should be the end of the line. Alright, cool. So they're going somewhere, probably. If we hit the end of the wave, that is about when it should be time to launch the next one. I will give the game object another method for send in wave. I will move that here. And this can be called from anywhere. So, for example, if we hit the end of this wave, we can say game.send in wave, and it will run the same thing, and I don't have to repeat any code, which is what I want. This is also about where I should put some kind of bounds on the current wave counter. We'll say less than, which would indicate that there are still waves remaining. Otherwise, I guess that sentence doesn't really mean anything. That was the last wave means a little bit more. There should also probably be some kind of countdown between waves. So if you want like 10 seconds between waves, let me also make a red ant sprite just so that I can have like two different things. Edit. We'll make you like a dark red. Darker than that, a dark red. All right, a little more intimidating. And I will assign ant red to the pill bug. Okay, that makes sense. Pill bugs now look like red ants. So says I. And that'll just be so that we can tell them apart a little bit. There should be a delay between waves, as I said. I'm deciding whether or not okay, I will not put this in here. I will have the timer kind of work on its own. So you press the spacebar to begin the whole thing. And then this is, I'm basically making alarms here, is what you can think of this as, except they're delta timed. Next wave is going to be -1. Actually, I have an idea. So instead of saying whenever you hit the spacebar is when the game starts, we'll say you get like a minute or 30 seconds or something to set up. And after that time is up, the first wave is gonna start whether or not you're ready. And after that, there'll be, say, like 15 seconds in between waves. Or something like that. I'll deal with the numbers later. I'll unmagic numberify these in a minute. Probably at the same time as whenever I finally go and make this a macro. I just want to see this in action, and then I'll clean it up, like, right after I get this working. Which is the goal. Okay, whose was that? Line 98. Current wave. Really? Okay, so for one, it would be safer to do this. To only increment the wave if there's anything left. And two, why is it doing that? Because it thought it automatically sent in the last wave. Oh my god. I did it again. Wrong sign. Wrong comparison. So they all got like sent in one by one. All right, so there's going to be one, and then in 15 seconds from the start, there's going to be another. Some tower defense games have a fixed amount of time between waves. Some have the countdown to the next wave start whenever the one finishes. And did I actually like define a second one? I did. I just closed the game. Oh, it's 30 seconds, not 15, so I just would have had to wait a little longer. And some tower defense games, notably like Bloons, would just let you send in waves whenever you're ready. I like a little bit of urgency. I don't think there should be too much. I feel like letting the player start whenever kind of takes away the real-time strategy a little bit, but if you like to like think about your games and like totally optimize them, there's the second wave. That might be, you might prefer
Hey.
Just a dedicated start button, but that's something we can figure out later. The dog is barking. All right, so they're all piling up at the end. That was the last wave that was sent in. I see in the console down there. They've invaded the home. They've invaded the picnic. They're taking away all the food. If I really want to go with the bug theme, that wouldn't be bad, would it? Okay, and it's repeatedly telling me that was the last wave. I could get rid of that, just so that it's not checking that incessantly. Alright, so I will also, hang on, I will rename these a little bit from current wave to wave current, just so that related variables have similar names, start with similar words. I'll also call that WaveCountdown. And then wave finished is false. We'll set that to true. And the countdown will only tick if not wave finished. So that we're not like checking the same thing over and over again, because that would... It's not so much that it would waste the like CPU time, make the game run slower, make the game do extra work, because there's only a few lines of code, but it's honestly more spaces for things to go wrong that I don't really want to deal with. Should I make this a queue instead? Because then WaveCurrent... I think I'll make this a queue. And then it would be DSQ NQ to add to it. Is this variadic? Can this take more than one? It can. So we'll just add as many waves as we need here. WaveCurrent will be an object. Instead of checking if the index is less than the size of the list, we can say if ds list empty. I'm just going to put this in reverse order because I like having a positive case to start with instead of like a negation. WaveCurrent can be DSQ-DQ. This does take away the ability to iterate over the queue arbitrarily, but if I really have to, you can work around that. You can like clone the queue and go through it that way. All right, so if WaveCurrent is truthy, we will just say WaveCurrent.update. And I think that's it. I think that's all the changes I need to make for that. All right, so that did make the code a little bit neater. I don't like having an extra index variable floating around if I can avoid it. So if I'm going to hit the spacebar, these guys are going to curl out. I'm not going to make you sit through this entire like minute, 59 seconds, whatever, of things curling out of whatever. So instead, I'm just going to speed up the video to like 10 times and let it play itself. And it crashed. Okay, launch could not be resolved. That's probably because there's nothing left and it's undefined, right? Line 83. Okay. So... oh, ds list empty. It should be... is there anywhere else that I've been doing that? Easiest way to find out is just by doing it, I guess. All right, so take two. Okay, so that worked successfully. Nothing has crashed. I like this version better instead of the list. Like I said, if I had a way to avoid using a list index, I will. If anybody's confused about why I'm treating WaveCurrent, which is an object like a Boolean, truthiness is a thing that I really like to use nowadays after several years of working with JavaScript. This just means if this value has a value, if it isn't undefined, if it isn't like 0 or lower than 0 or something like that. It's possibly a little bit risky if someone reading your code doesn't know what it means and thinks it's an actual Boolean, but the alternative is putting like this all over the place, which I think is a bit messier. What else? I said I was going to unmagic numberify things. So let me find... I'm going to make a macro called capital D, capital T for delta time, is what I usually do. Let me replace all instances of this. Okay, fine. Some of these have parentheses around them, some of them don't. The macro will have parentheses around it, just in case. That's that. There shouldn't be any more of those, right? Right. Let me just make a nice macro script to put all the constant definitions. I'll leave the singleton one in the game file, source file. That is indeed a million. Okay, so that's the one. And I don't really need that anymore. I'm thinking there shouldn't really be a reason for the time between waves or the time between foes to ever change. Like, not a technical reason, but I just don't really have a gameplay reason to need them to do that, so I'm probably going to macro these also. I guess I call it like WaveCountdown. And probably WaveCountdown or something. You can make the argument that if you want to implement like a difficulty mode where foes come in a rapid fire manner, you might want to change this value. I will address that later on if I need to. WaveCountdown is 1. WaveCountdown, I think I said 15. I'll call it the warm-up countdown before it launches on its own. We'll make this like 30. In practice, it may make sense to make it longer if it turns out that like players need more time to get ready. Or it could always be shorter if that just turns out to be like extra time and people are always just launching it early. In tower defense games, it seems to be common to give bonuses to launching waves early. Sort of a risk-reward thing. Is this, this is waves? WaveCountdown, I think, is the macro. And I did define that to be 1. So this should behave the same as before, just with like 10% fewer magic numbers. Any more in here? There are not any more. Okay. No more magic numbers. There's a couple like, well, these aren't really. Let's launch that. There's a couple things in here, like move speed. I fully intend on actually giving that a value that I had a reason to come up with later on. But not now. I'm probably going to just dedicate an entire video or possibly several to like the math behind balancing this. Like the camera, realistically, when are you going to spawn? Oh, there you go. Okay, I feel like they started earlier, but it was 15 seconds and 15 seconds. Maybe 15 seconds is just longer than I thought. Like the camera, perhaps you want to accelerate if you hold down a button a little bit. That wouldn't be too hard to do. I just might need to think about it, about like whether or not I want to actually do that. Okay, that is everything. That's all I had to plan. That's all I had planned to do today. This was a hefty video, 32 minutes of recording. I don't know what that's going to be cut down to. We've got waves of enemies, so this is starting to look like a tower defense game now. Let's see, what have I written down next time? Next time I'm planning to do actual placing of towers by clicking on spaces on the map. I've also written down that I want to have towers shooting because I don't think simply placing them down and instantiating them is going to be very difficult. And I don't really want to have a video that's just like 6 minutes long of just a little bit of math, so having them shoot should be interesting. After that, I don't know if I'm going to stick to the order that I initially planned to do things in, but I'm probably going to start to do visual stuff. Actually putting nice looking things in the world more so than just a checkerboard that you're standing on. I've made a note to actually put like trees and flowers and stuff in here or whatever. There's also proper lighting effects, lighting shaders. I hope by this point in time I've made a video on lighting shaders and some other things. We'll see. By the way, if I don't hit the space bar, 30 seconds should go by and it should start on its own, right? How long's it been? Oh, there they go, right on cue. Anyway, this is still like the first day that I'm recording these. Like I said, I'm working ahead a little bit just because I said I'm going to make these until I decide to stop talking for the day, until my voice wears out or something. If you have any suggestions, definitely let me know. I might not get to them in the next video because the aforementioned working ahead, but I will get to them eventually. Or I'll at least talk to them eventually. I'm not going to say like everything that people suggest in the comments I'm going to do, but I will make every effort to at least address these suggestions that people have if I think it would be a good idea. More importantly, why. Let's see. After that, I'm going to try not to forecast too many videos ahead, because even though I have them like written out what I want to do, I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to stick to the plan. Anyway, my name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. This is starting to look like a game, although it's still pretty much deterministic except for when you decide to launch the first wave. Anyway, I try to post 2 of these a week. One of these tower defense videos, one programming tutorial. I have a Patreon, so if you find these interesting, you want to chip in, there's a link to that in all the usual places. Otherwise, the code should be on GitHub in the video description. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Edward Holt, Indie Punch, and Zenith for supporting these videos. If you want your name in the credits and to force me to pronounce them out loud at the end of every video, head over to the Patreon page in the video description and join the fun.